pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could remain standing and remember our men and women in the armed forces, and also three folks from the community since our last meeting: Jerry Galoo Sr., Phil Sickler, Purple Heart recipient, and a dear friend of mine and many others, Chris Burns. Thank you. Okay, first on the agenda, I have bills and claims. For fiscal year 2022-2023, $140,459. I know they were reviewed downstairs. We could have a motion to pay the bills and claims.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I had a question about
Sure.
a couple of the bills.
Yeah.
One of the bills was one for $1,295, and that was paid to Jim Conley to take down Christmas decoration and lights. Why are we doing that instead of giving that job to DPW?
Well, we don't have one reason is, Melanie, we don't have a bucket truck. So we used he used his bucket truck. And it's an annual expense we have unless we can figure something else out. He fixes the electric that goes bad during the year from weather, which he did have on Main Street again this year. So that's one thing. That's what I can say to you.
The other was for $5,000 to Kevin Hurst about a sewer basement cleanup in somebody's house. Why are we reimbursing that?
Gina, is that the one where we're not paying part of it?
I don't know, we're not paying Kevin Hurst.
Yeah, we're not paying Kevin Hurst that amount, I can tell you.
Paying the property owner. It wasn't 5,000, there was two bills. One was
Yeah,
12, one was 2,000, I think.
And then there was something about spring 2027.
yeah, that's the one. If you're talking about
We're not
that,
paying that.
we're not paying him for that.
Ah, okay.
Because he's not getting an estimate and having the job done to pay someone to show us he paid someone till spring, or whenever he does the job. Yeah, so that was $3,500, that's not part of that bills.
I see, but we're reimbursing the homeowner
That's
because
correct.
it was our leak?
Yes,
Oh, I got you,
our fault.
our fault, okay. Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion to pay bills, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, I have two sets of minutes, which I believe we were all at, both meetings. There was a special meeting on January 9 of 2023, and then we had a regular meeting also on January 9, 2023. If I could have the motion to approve minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, it. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have a general village election appointment of inspectors. Whereas the next general village election for offices will be held on Tuesday, March 21, 2023. And whereas the voting for the upcoming general village election shall be conducted at the Senior Citizen Center at 15 Drew Avenue, Highland Falls, New York, from noon to 9 p.m. Therefore, be it resolved that the inspectors of the election shall be the following: Suzanne Lewis, chairperson; Kathy Beach; Kathy Nazo; Terry Long, and an alternate, Olga Anderson. Be it further resolved that the rate of compensation paid to the inspectors shall be $15 an hour. May I have a motion?
Make a motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Allard?
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Yes.
Trustee Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor D'Onofrio?
Yes, motion carries, thank you. I have a second resolution pertaining to the election. Village of Highland Falls, resolution placing a proposition on the ballot for the March 21, 2023 general village election to have the Board of Elections of the County of Orange conduct elections instead of the village clerk. Whereas the next general village election for offices will be held on Tuesday, March 21, 2023. And whereas the village board has determined that the voters of the Village of Highland Falls should be asked whether they no longer wish for the village clerk of the Village of Highland Falls to conduct village elections and instead have the Board of Elections of the County of Orange to conduct all future village elections held after March 21, 2023. And whereas in accordance determined whereas in order to determine whether the voters no longer wish for the village clerk to conduct village elections, question must be timely added to the March 21, 2023 ballot. Now therefore be it resolved that the following proposition be placed on the ballot. Shall the village elections of the Village of Highland Falls be conducted by the Board of Elections of the County of Orange instead of the Village of Highland Falls village clerk beginning April 1, 2023? Yes or no? May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second, may I have roll call?
Discussion.
Discuss.
Yeah, go ahead. I
You
just
first.
wanted to- All right, so I just want the village board to understand that if this, I did speak with, well, I spoke with NICOM, I also spoke with the Orange County Board of Elections. So if you put the proposition on the ballot in March and it is approved, then if the county says that if it's okay to continue holding elections in March, then fine, you don't really have to do anything else. However, if the county says that they will not do the elections in March and they will only do elections in November, then this board has to pass a local law to change your official year to match either, December 1st or January 1st. That is subject to mandatory referendum. So that means that within 60 days of enacting that local law, you would have to hold a special election to put that to the voters as well, and then it would be yes or no. I am not sure who holds that special election, whether it is the County of Orange or the village. We have a call into the county now to see, one, would they just go with March? And two, if they won't, and you have to have a special election to change your fiscal year, or your official year, then who would run that election? And we don't know yet. Okay?
Thank you. Jim?
Just another thing, so if you do change the year, which you would have to do, right, those people elected would just hold over until the next term starts.
Thank you.
I just wanted the board to understand that.
Anyone else on the board?
Yeah, just a few quick things. So first off the bat, I understand why this was brought up by Trustee Guerrera, and we're, moving forward with it tonight, I would imagine. From the folks that I spoke with at County Board of Elections, it didn't seem like there was too much of an option. But now that you said that, maybe there is.
I don't think it's likely from what.
Yeah, from the folks I spoke to, it sounds like elections would be moved to November.
Well, the official year would be moved to November and then.
Right.
Right.
So the changing of the fiscal year is a whole other animal that I guess we'd have to deal with should it pass. Having run a few elections both in the town and the village and outside of town, I understand why some folks would think that changing where the election was conducted, or who oversaw the election, would add some sort of level of different security. I don't see it personally. The system's sort of set up to be adversarial between candidates. So if I'm running for office and I go out and get the required signatures, unless it's challenged by an opponent, you can have Mickey Mouse sign it, in our case in the Village of Highland Falls, 75 times on a petition. I submit the petition, it's taken on face value. Whether it's dropped off at 303 Main Street or it's dropped off at the Board of Elections in Goshen, they don't check for the validity of the signatures. They just take the paperwork and they submit it, stamp it, received. So just so folks don't get the wrong idea, whether 303 Main Street performs the election inspections or collects the paperwork, sets the timeline, or it goes to Goshen, I've been involved in many different elections where opponents challenged my petitions, I challenged opponents' petitions, knocked candidates off because their petitions were invalid. The clerk never decided that. That always came from the Board of Elections. Because it has to be challenged by an opponent. And there's, rules and there's timelines. So just so it doesn't, I don't want the public to think that whether 303 Main Street runs the election or Goshen runs the election, there's an added level of security, because there really isn't. In this past election, and it's nobody's fault, there were different towns in Orange County that had ballots that just showed up the next day from election. I mean, stuff happens, so just keep that in mind. And if I vote in the affirmative tonight, it's no reflection on our village clerk and the folks who work down at 303 Main Street. I have run elections in the village before. I've had nothing but confidence in the results, whether I won or I lost. They do a great job, the clerk does a great job, Ms. Taylor does a great job, and I've never had or never worried about when I was running. So that's just me, that's been my experience, and as we take the vote tonight, I hope we really are doing it for the right reasons. It just seems to be recurring on different things, the same folks. Try to get rid of the police department, we tried to dissolve the village, now we're changing the voting time frame, and I just wonder if we're doing it for a crusade of something or if we're doing it for the right reasons. So that's my little spiel. I'm sure there might be a little back and forth politely, but that's where I'm at.
I have a motion.
Gina has something to say.
I just want to let Jim know, we aren't talking about changing the fiscal year, it's the organizational year. It's the organizational year, not the
Right,
fiscal year.
yeah,
So even if you change, you would have to change the official year.
right,
So say it's calendar.
yep,
Your fiscal year.
wouldn't change.
Doesn't-
That's right. All right, I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I did already.
You seconded it? You have it, Gina?
Yes.
Okay, roll call?
Trustee Guerrero,
Yes.
trustee Alward.
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo,
Yes.
trustee Phillips.
Yes.
Mayor D'Onofrio.
Yes. Motion carries, thank you. Next I have on the agenda is request for training, the village clerk Regina Taylor and the account clerk Lene Mazeris, who's here tonight, to attend election workshop at the Orange County Board of Elections, 75 Webster Avenue, Wednesday, the 15th of February, from 10 a.m. to noon, and mileage reimbursement be approved from start to the county and back. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, I have a resignation to read. Dear Village Hall and residents of Highland Falls, I am writing this with a heavy heart to inform the village board and the residents of Highland Falls that I will be resigning from the position of police officer effective January 26, 2023. It has been a great honor and a privilege to serve the residents of Highland Falls. During my time as a police officer, I have had a wonderful experience serving alongside the great men and women in this beautiful community. The Village of Highland Falls is a unique community right outside the gates of the prestigious West Point Military Academy. And I am proud to say that I have helped protect and serve the community, who is filled with some of the most heartwarming and welcoming people I have the privilege to know. I would like to thank the mayor. I would like to thank Mayor D'Onofrio, the village board members, and previous Chief of Police Kenneth Scott and Sergeant Jason Torpy for affording me the opportunity to work in this great village for close to 5 years. I will be embarking on a new journey in my career with law enforcement, and I will take all the memories of Highland Falls with me. Thank you all for everything you have done for me and my family. Richard D. Santiago, Shield number 55. So could we accept this with regret, but accept it?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second, with major regret.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have on the agenda from the Highland Falls Fire Department, a new member, yet he's an old member, Jason Stropel, per the recommendation of Fire Chief Eric Smith.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Second by Gary. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Couple things, another bill that you all can decide right now to pay. This is for Pablo Polito for $178.80. It's reimbursement for mileage when he attended a school to get his license, water license. I would need a motion.
Make a motion, pay that.
I'll second it.
I will say this before we vote. The office staff, when they gave him his original check, gave the right amount. It's always been that the village pays from home to the school, from the school back. We've done that with everyone. There's past practice on this. There was holiday pay given while he was gone because there was a holiday. I think we did everything we were supposed to. In fact, I know we did everything we were supposed to, and we did everything that we've done for everyone else. I have a motion. You seconded, you? May I have roll call?
I have a
Trustee
question.
Guerrero?
Question, sorry.
The past practice is from leaving here to going to the hotel.
Correct.
Not to the class?
Excuse me. That's correct.
Okay. The reason I bring it up is because other people have said we only got from
Yeah.
point A to point B.
Yeah, it's past practice.
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest that that is typically what we do, because you know, as a village, from A to B, you know that is done. You don't know what happened once the person got there. So if the village is going to do that, I would suggest that you are making an exception to your policy, and you might want to think about changing your policy to pay whatever is put in as mileage.
You're correct. So I have a motion, I have a second.
Could I just confirm
yes.
that dollar amount you have in front of you?
Yeah, $178.80.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call?
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Alward?
No, it goes against practice.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Yes.
Trustee Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Denofrio?
No. Motion carries. Okay, next, Mrs. Nazio? I know that you're here, I have your letter. Do you want, I'm sorry, Laura.
Okay. Just talking to myself.
Do you, I understand this.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody read it.
Yeah, and what I've done is I met today with the officer in charge, and tomorrow, within a day or two, he'll meet with my highway superintendent.
Okay.
And I know they're going to paint part of the curb on both sides yellow,
Okay,
but also put signs up.
okay, that would be great.
You know,
It
yeah.
really is,
I bet,
it's a dilemma, it's very tight, and
Uh,
it's hard to make that turn.
I bet.
And when the, as you may have known, a big tree fell in my yard and across the road, and so all kinds of trucks have been coming up. And up until this point, it's just been an annoyance, and I'll go knock on people's doors. I mean,
Oh, it's terrible.
I don't want
Yeah.
to, make too many waves with my neighbors, but,
It's tough parking.
yeah, and then I thought, and the ambulance has to get up here, and these two cars are blocking our drive, Regis Brown lives up the road and across from me, and she's 90, and, for anybody, so I just think it would be a good idea to make sure nobody parks there. It gives us more room.
You'll see something there very soon.
Okay, that'd be,
We got weather going on now, but this is now, okay?
all right, thanks.
Yeah. When I read it, I because I used to go see Harold all the time, but
Yeah, right.
I never had a problem, but I could see where there would be,
Yeah,
especially at night.
yeah.
More
It's
people
tough
are home.
parking- It's tough parking on that road with
Yeah.
a lot of cars.
It'll be done.
Okay.
Thank you. Public comment. Any public comment? Yes.
Creaking. Sorry, guys. Michael Joyce, 12 Eagle Valley Road, Highland Falls, and the rest all you guys know. I just want to query something with Trustee DeSalvo. Last meeting, we regrettably accepted our chief's resignation. And then you had a question, and you all got together like in a football huddle, because you call like, refresh my memory, what's that thing where?
Executive session.
Thank you so much, thank you. Executive session. But we could kind of hear you down here. And you made a point about now our ex-chief. And then I hear 2 days later, she's basically confronted 2 days after our village meeting, where she's asked for her badge, her gun, and the car, when in her resignation letter, she was willing to work up till February 15th. I'm just curious as to, because by taking her out of the picture, we now lost a supervisor. We now lost an added gun on the force, which means less protection. And I would like some clarification from Trustee DeSalvo, because you seem to make an issue of it at the last meeting.
Mike, because this is a personnel issue, I will, as I conduct the meeting, I will refer to the attorney, what she can say.
I hear,
Thank you.
I hear what you're saying.
Thank you.
But, and
that-
besides the personnel, we're talking about a safety issue for the village.
There's no
And-
safety issue with the village, but that's okay.
The-
And these are opinions, and I appreciate yours.
There is when we're less one police officer, when, again, Trustee DeSalvo is, and rightfully so, is all for our police force. God bless them. So now, they're down one person that could be supervising in the office, freeing up somebody who might have to fill that spot, because I guess somebody didn't like a woman on the job.
No, Mike, that's
No,
uncalled for.
they're
That's
not.
very uncalled for.
Hang on.
Please tell him.
Yeah.
It's better if you tell him instead of.
It's only my, it's only my personal opinion.
No, I don't
I'm gonna let the
like the
village attorney-
censorship.
Yeah.
We shouldn't censure by deferring to the attorney.
On this
I
issue,
think
though.
I do have a question as to why. No, it is, right?
Yeah.
Why can't we talk about the issue? She put in a resignation on the 15th of February.
You were given.
But she was asked, hang on, okay, but she was asked to turn in everything 1 month early. Why was that? Why did we do that?
This board was given advice from its attorneys on that issue. That advice is confidential. It is not to be discussed. in
I'm sorry,
public.
I wasn't given any advice. What, the board was?
This board
So you're
was given
mistaken.
advice by its attorneys,
What,
and that advice is
did you know about this
confidential.
advice? Were you given that advice before she was told to surrender her equipment?
You have to
1 month
understand that
early?
the chief of police works for the mayor, and the mayor.
Oh, so it wasn't the board, you're saying the mayor?
I understand that the
Okay.
board was given.
Your understanding is wrong, because I'm part of the board and I wasn't given advice.
Are you trying to get this board into a lawsuit? Is that
I'm
what
not
you're
trying to get the board into a
Well, that's
lawsuit.
what
We have to
you're going
do
to do if you keep
this kind of
talking
censure
about
for you.
personnel
You need to
issues.
stop. You need to stop.
That
You need to stop. You are a paid attorney for the village, okay? You're a paid attorney for the village, not a public official.
Okay, I'm gonna move,
Okay.
Mike, I'm gonna move
So-
on. I appreciate your comment.
Thank
It
you.
isn't all accurate, but I do appreciate your comment and definitely your concern.
I think we
For
need to
some of it
answer
wasn't.
it.
For the security of our village,
I heard you,
this
Mike.
lady, our ex-chief, was gonna work up till February 15th, and because of Cloak and Dagger,
No.
we have
Now you're
down
gone.
one police officer, which means whether anybody wants to agree to this or not, one police officer less means less security for the village. Less. Thank you.
We have a
Thank you,
chief
Mike.
of police that lasted 6 months. She put in her resignation for the 15th of February. And all of a sudden, we approved it. We approved it.
I would just like
So
to-
why is it that I didn't know about it. Brian didn't know about it.
I would just-
Why is it that we would offer her something else other than what she asked us and what we approved? We approved the 15th of February. Why is she not working anymore?
I would just like to say this, since the question was asked to me. Nothing would give me more pleasure to set you correct, Mr. Joyce. But unfortunately, due to my position, and it's a personnel matter, I cannot. But nothing, nothing would give me more pleasure than to set what you just said right, because 95% of it was inaccurate.
No.
I don't think so.
Because you know what?
Inaccurate.
Because you know what? You
Inaccurate.
should never play cards, because
Inaccurate.
you have the lousiest poker face
Thanks.
I've ever seen of anyone.
Thanks.
Okay, is there any other?
Any day you want to play poker too, let me know.
I'm part of the board,
Come
and I
on up
didn't know any, so you must know something I don't know.
Hi, Ron Malakat, Perry Avenue in Highland Falls here. And last board meeting, it was there was a heated discussion from one member of the audience. And Mr. Mayor, you held up a stack of papers saying, I got 23 lawsuits from you that's costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And it makes me wonder, how many lawsuits beyond that one person are there against the village? I mean, I've read a lot.
Right now, is there, I don't, I'm looking to the clerk, is there any?
There was only one actual lawsuit that we were waiting on from the insurance company.
I'd like to, is this researchable? Is this in your audits? Is this in the
It's
year-end
actually
papers?
public record, so if you want.
It is or not?
It's absolutely public record, so if you want to go on the New York State court.
So let me answer that. Okay, let me answer that. Listen, you're not a public, you're not an elected official. You are here to keep us from
God.
getting litigation, but you answer as if you're one of us, okay? You know-
And there's, the board puts the village puts
I know,
no
but she's acting
non-disclosure
like she's
agreement
one of
on
the
these
elected
lawsuits.
Let her
officials.
speak.
No.
No.
We hired her to represent us, let her speak.
She pounds her fist on the
The answer
table,
to your
but let me
question is
answer
no.
that, okay? Let me answer some of that when you're done with your question.
Well, it makes me wonder a bit, this Chief Dryer resignation, firing. Is that another lawsuit? Well, time will tell.
Does a person resign?
Not
Maybe
because
how
she
it was
resigned.
handled
Seems like it's a loaded
and other, we need to wait in here.
Okay, anything, Diane?
No, that's it for me today.
Okay.
Yes, Trustee DeSalvo, you don't seem to understand the question. It's not that she resigned. She wanted her last day to be the 15th of February. Why is she not at work now? Okay? Why was she out of work by the 11th of January? I don't get it. Okay? So I don't get why that happened when we actually approved, this board approved a resignation day of 15 February. Why did we, not me, but somebody and this board offered her something else without the knowledge of the rest of the board or the vote of the board? So here's what I would say about this litigation. There may only be one lawsuit against the village, but I'll tell you how much we paid. We have 2 attorneys for the village. One is a labor attorney and the other is a village attorney, and that's Mr. Hoon. In just 6 months, and this is conservative because I don't have all the bills in front of me, but we spent $112,000 in 6 months for 2 attorneys, okay? For 2 attorneys, and you're right, this is public record. We have 25 active employees, okay? But there's so many employee issues that we spent, just in 6 months that I calculated, over $100,000, okay? That doesn't even count, really, the Deb Copeland lawsuit. That's our one lawsuit, because we're not done billing, I'm sure, okay? Over $100,000 in lawyer fees. This village.
Okay, and,
Some
ma'am?
answers.
This is public comment.
Yes, ma'am, you can say that, yes, ma'am. Just step up here and give your name.
Yeah, when I came in, you were talking about this, the election, turning over the village election to the county. Now, I don't know if I missed it, have you approved that, or are you putting?
Just to go on the ballot.
To go on the ballot?
The folks are going to say yes or no.
Okay. So I have to say, and this is, and me expressing my opinion, some of you might recognize me from being I am an election inspector. I've been doing it for many years now, and I do every election. And when I read that article in the paper last week, and I gotta tell you, I felt like somebody hit me upside my head. And I know people will say it's not personal, but it sure feels personal. And I want to assure you that nothing nefarious is going on. These people, men and women, and we're mostly women that run the election, take everything very seriously. We are trained by Orange County Board of Elections. We check signatures. We process the voters. On a village election, we have to tally up the absentee ballots and all that. Everybody takes it seriously. There's nothing weird going on. There's nothing wrong going on. And I guess I felt like my honesty and my integrity was a little bit insulted by that article. Now, I'm sure you're going to say it's not personal, but again, it does feel personal. And I don't really understand, if you don't like something or if you want to challenge a voter, there's a process to do that. And they teach us that process. If you want to challenge a signature on a petition, there's a process for doing that. So if you think something strange is going on, then challenge it. But I don't know that moving it to the County Board of Elections is really going to make any difference, because I'm still going to be processing the votes. So I don't see how it's going to make any difference. But, and I thought, I always like Highland Falls because it's such a nice, tight community, but some things have been happening that are making me feel like we're being infected with, the national melees that we have, where if you lose a vote or you lose an election, then the other side cheated. And that's just not true. And if you think something is wrong, then you should challenge it. But I don't know that moving it to the County Board of Elections is the way to go. And anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Pablo Pulido, 13 Edwards Street. First of all, I thank you for approving the money that was owed to me, but I also want to clarify something. Being said that is past practice. The ways that they figure the mileage was from here to the hotel, but they didn't count the mileage from the hotel to the class, which each day was 14 miles. 14 miles times 14, that cures some money. And of course, I have to go get something to eat. And nobody told me difference not to use my car to go and find something to eat. They only tell me, the only thing that Mr. D'Onofrio said was to go to McDonald's and eat. But past practice, I like that word, because I'm going to remember that. past practice, right? Well, I'm just saying, for the people out there, how can I go to the class if I don't get out of the hotel to go to the class? I don't have the class on the hotel. So you only pay me from here to the hotel? So I just wanted to clarify that, but thank you again.
Thank you very much. Jim?
Jim Ramus, Mr. Mayor, Board. I'm trying to bring some positive stuff here. I see there's a lot of stuff going on. At the comp meeting, I did some research. As you recall, I told the gentleman that there was a waterfront overlay district. I found that information. I'd like to share it with you guys when you want, and I got the water table. That might help him out as well. So anytime you need it, just get in touch with me, all right? Thanks so much.
It's good stuff. Anyone else?
Pat Flynn. I wasn't actually going to speak of this real quick, but I'll do it real quick. I agree with you. I don't know what the change was about to go to Orange County, but I agree that a majority of it isn't going to change even if we go to Orange County. But I believe that if we go to Orange County, certain things that certain people are concerned about will change. And definitely nothing that you guys do day of is going to change. And then you brought up that, if someone cheated, I didn't know one cheated, but we did have an article in the paper about voter fraud. And there was voter fraud in the last election. So there, unfortunately, could be going on for a long time, just got caught. So it does happen. And the only...
Is there proof of that?
Yes, they actually admitted to it. They actually admitted to it in the paper, and they said, yes, we did the voter fraud.
Relax, you don't need to laugh, I asked a question.
Yeah, I'm not laughing. Would you think that to me?
No.
Oh, okay. And no, I'm just bringing it up because it is an awesome town, and there's awesome people. But when you get any group together, there'll always be issues here or there. The question is, do we let those issues just go by the wayside and move on and not do anything about it? Or do we hold each person accountable to what they promised to do and promised to do for us? I believe that. And that's why I'm standing up here right now. I would rather be home with my family, but I think certain things need to be pointed out because, as was pointed out earlier, oh my God, are you trying to push for another lawsuit? There are certain laws that we have, there are certain rules we have to abide by, statewide, countywide, local-wide. But the truth is not one of them. The truth is something that should be coming out all the time. There's certain information to be held back, but the truth should be held back, like, there's a lot of discussion, so I'm just going to make it as clear as possible. Why wasn't the entire board notified before you went after, and it was not in a nice way, in my opinion, a chief that we lauded and was given all kinds of accolades prior to coming, and when she came here, everybody in the village seemed to be very happy with what she was doing. She was on calls left and right, meeting with people on the job. I talked to several officers that were so excited to have her as chief because she was setting up rules, she was scheduling better, she was doing a lot of things better. And now, I've heard a lot of rumors, not going to bring it up on the mic, of why she's out. And it's disgusting what I'm hearing, what was done to her, which is why she resigned. And now, nobody puts together the fact the same time one of our best officers, Officer Santiago, decides, I need to resign too. I heard why, but I don't want a hearsay, I don't want a lawsuit coming, so you're going to ask me afterwards. And why several other officers will be resigning very soon. Yes, it is a safety issue. And it's not just a safety issue, it's a money issue. For those that don't know, we're short. We're short all across the board. And because of that, because the board is not filling positions. The overtime that is being spent in all departments is obnoxious. We're talking doubling the pay. But yet, we roll our car back, pay our taxes, everything's fine, until the next lawsuit, until the next accident, until the next issue.
Thanks, Pat.
Not done, 1 second, almost done, almost done.
Okay.
I'm with you.
You're
Thank you.
special, so you're gonna get.
It's nothing about being special, there's no clock, there's no clock.
Yeah.
I don't see a clock, and I don't see a clock to anyone else. If you do, I agree with you, I'll stop.
No.
But there was no clock and there was no discussion of it. Thank you.
Former mayor. Running.
As far as what we're looking at with why the chief was asked to resign her badge and gun, it's my understanding that it's possibly because of a rule that we're afraid that she might do something wrong between the day that she said she was going to resign and the day she resigns. And we don't want that because we don't want a lawsuit. Well, in that case, why aren't we just dismissing all of our employees? Because any of them could get in trouble between today and tomorrow. She was an employee. She said she was going to resign on the 15th. It was agreed upon. And then, in my opinion, it was done very poorly. The other question I have is the rigmarole that went through with Pablo Pulido in getting his water license. And no, we can't even think about talking about you being in charge of DPW till we get the water license. Well, they got the water license. It doesn't seem to be, at least in public, that nothing was addressed as far as, well, we looked at candidates, we decided we want to thank a 30-year employee for applying, but we have someone that we're looking at better. Again, I think there's a little too much, obviously, most personnel matters have to be behind closed doors, but the results, a little more of the results, a little more of the truth should be shared with the public. Because it seems like we are, and I would be the last one to say it, it seems like we are making sure our friends and family are being taken care of first, whether or not they're qualified or certified.
Thank you.
I was concerned about when Melanie brought up the money being paid to an individual on Old 9W. I did hear about it, and it's my understanding that that pipe was dug up prior to and known about by our sewer department and just covered up. Just what I heard. These are things, you can laugh all you want, Jim. You're in charge of sewer.
I mean, you just make blanket statements.
No,
I don't know if
so
they're
you're saying
true. I don't know if they're true, but I'm
you're saying it's not true then?
It's a joke.
You don't know about
It's your time.
it? So no, you don't know about it, Jim?
It's your time,
Well,
buddy.
you're making statements
It's
at
your
me.
time, buddy. It's your time, buddy.
Pat, the way.
You're making statements at
It's your
me.
time, buddy.
Pat, I'm gonna make.
The bottom line is, so you're saying it's
Your
not
time,
true.
Pat. It's your time.
You won't say it's not true or true, because you know what it is.
Time's over.
It's your
Is there
time.
anyone else? Is there anyone else? Yes, sir. Come on up. Thank you. Talk slow. Talk lightly.
Last thing,
Don't yell.
Officer Santiago, great loss.
Great loss.
No, I'm going. A great loss, and it's sad that he's pushed out like others are. Just sad.
Now, sir, I'm gonna let you go. Is there anyone else in the audience who wants to speak after this gentleman? Okay. Then I'm gonna go on to my remarks, the board's remarks, and we'll end it. But I wanna say a lot of what was just said up here, is not accurate. And I will, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks.
Explain it.
Well, let's just take the last comment, if I heard it correctly, that the sewer department knew about the sewer break on Old State Road. Is that what you said?
Repeat, you were looking.
Did you say that the sewer department knew of the sewer break?
It's my understanding there was a water break there, and when they were trying to fix the water break, they broke the sewer, knew it was broken, and covered up.
Who broke the sewer?
Your DPW sewer department.
No, we don't, no, that's the part that's inaccurate. Yes,
Who
sir.
broke it then?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Lies.
All right, I'm
Lies.
jumping in. A little bit of, as we started, some good news, some optimism here. The village, in conjunction with the town, are about to start the program that they've been exploring now for over a year. It's it's formally known as the Community Choice Aggregation Program. In a nutshell, this is a program that was enabled in New York State in 2016. It allows cities and towns and villages to use simple analogies, form a buying club on behalf of their community members for electricity supply. So this program's been in exploration for quite some time. Letters are going to be going out on February 9th to all eligible community members, and the majority of the community will be eligible. In essence, the program was enabled in the state because of a win-win-win scenario. It's a way to support renewables at a very cost-effective way, in a way that has no contract restrictions, any kind of restrictions on community members. The letters will go out on February 9th to the community members, and then it'll have all the program details. Folks who do not want to be part of the program have no restrictions to leaving the program. The letter will explain all that in detail. It's an 18-month contract. It is a default rate described in there. That's about 13 cents per kilowatt hour for 100% sourced New York State renewables. Just to compare, the current O&R rate for supply is about 14.5 cents. It won't always be lower than O&R's rate over the course of the 18 months, but we know it'll be a very competitive rate, and it's a win-win in that you can support renewables if you stay in the program at a very competitive rate without any restrictions. There is a second rate that is a mix that is typically the same as what O&R obtains on a month-to-month basis. That's about 11.2 cents. Anybody could switch that rate at any time if they want to. The letter will have contact information. It will have a description of how to opt out, including a prepaid mailing card. And our number is 845-859-9099, 859-9099. There's support at jewelcommunitypower.com. There'll be more public meetings described in the letter, including on March 2nd and March 4th, 2 Zoom meetings. If you want me to come back to town to do another public meeting, we were just at the library earlier tonight. I was over at Town Hall. We'll be back. We're here to support the program. So it's a really good news thing. The board and the town should be commended for something really good happening. So thank you for your time. Yes, Jim?
Mr. Mayor, I just got one question that should be noted.
Yes.
You might have the answer tonight, or you
Sure.
might not.
Yep.
You noted that it was going to be an 18-month program. Just can you explain what happens after 18 months?
Yep, it's a great question. No, that's great. It's a great question. And it's a question that's well stemmed because people who get into private contracts, those contracts don't end. That's part of the problem. That's part of the consumer challenge that this program is founded on. It's an 18-month contract, starts in April of 2023. Before it ends, there'll be conversations to determine if the town wants to go through and the village wants to go through the whole process again. It's possible to, with all the public outreach and education and letters and everything, that we can seamlessly roll into another contract for a to-be-determined period of time. But if the village decides that that was great, but we're not going to do this again, everyone just automatically returns to the old opt-out program where Orange and Rockland will make that supply decision for folks. And just to reemphasize, this does not interrupt Orange and Rockland whatsoever. They're a delivery company that stays in place.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, cool.
Your information will go out to residents?
It will go out to everyone in that current opt-out situation, everyone for whom Orange and Rockland is making the supply choice currently, except, that means if you have a contract with like Green Mountain or Ambit or Viridian, you will not be notified about the program. That's why we're doing this public outreach. You can join if you want to, if you end your contract earlier or if you wait till it ends. Folks who are on Home Energy Assistance Program, the payment, they are not automatically included either, nor are people who have a block on their accounts with Orange and Rockland. If you called up Orange and Rockland for whatever reason, maybe you had a bad experience with an energy company, you can say, put a block on my account. They're not included. So if you don't want to be part of this program, call up Orange and Rockland and put a block on your account. So it'll protect you from that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Kathy, there is information right now on the village website.
Oh, is there about
Yes.
this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And recordings of other presentations.
Okay.
I didn't get everybody.
Sorry, I got a little off track. I just wanted two other things. There was a mention of a bill for a bucket truck for the Conleys. Conleys are awesome. Want to use them every second we can. They're an awesome group. But my question is, why aren't we using the town's bucket truck, which we already own, and why aren't we working with the town more, like I thought we were supposed to be, so that these costs don't come up? Just another cost incurred by not working with the town, not working together. The other thing being that it's my understanding that the town is also meeting tonight down at Town Hall, and the supervisor, because last time you both had a meeting same night, the supervisor wanted to make sure his meeting was on TV, and we were asked to please say, hey, can we be on TV? It's my understanding that the supervisor let part of the board know that we could be on TV tonight, and we opted not to. Again, this is against open government. People need to see and know what's going on. I know it really doesn't matter what I'm saying here, because just so you guys know, we're not on TV right now. It'll be recorded, it'll go on YouTube, much fewer people will see it. But that's another
Are they in the minutes?
they're in the minutes that.
I mean, don't you take, or?
There's minutes, but no, if someone goes and asks for the minutes, no one's asking for the minutes.
All right.
That's all, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let me address that, and then I'm going to move on. The village DPW highway department and the town highway department have an, not good, I could easily say good, an excellent working relationship. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, I want to thank the Fort Montgomery Fire Department, along with Holland Falls and several other units through mutual aid for responding to, I guess, what could have been a lot worse, a fire down at the Old Oak, the Old Oak Inn in Fort Montgomery. It was a good stop. So everyone who was there should be commended. It was a very good stop. As of January 13th, the officer in charge for the police department is Jason Torpy. He will receive the same compensation, no more, no less, that he did the last time he was officer in charge, which is $1,153 a pay period. I do have the new chief's list for which I have to get from the county and go off of to hire the next chief. That will be done. I can tell you, it's nothing new for the police department to have personnel. I don't want to call them issues, but people come and people go, and for a host of different reasons. Before Chief Dreyer started here, while her 6 month here, that was one of our main discussions. I can almost say every day, Monday through Friday, I would speak to her about it. And it has continued to be the officers in charge position to find full-timers and part-timers. I did see an ad by the PBA for full-timers. I was consulted today that he may have a couple of part-timers, which are very good because that keeps the overtime down. So no one has to worry about the police department as far as safety. We will not skip a beat. I can promise you that.
I'm worried.
Here's something that I would encourage the community to go to Wednesday, the day after tomorrow, from 5 p.m. to 7, and then Saturday, the 28th, noon to 2 o'clock. Black History of the Town of Highlands. It's going to be at the Highland Falls Library. Our new historian has put together this presentation, pop-up tent, collection of a lot of really cool stuff, local stuff. So if you get a chance, Wednesday night, go between 5 and 7, or Saturday between noon and 2. Okay. All right. Anyone on the board?
Yes, okay, I did go to the after-school program at the intermediate school, the Connect program, last week, and it's really going strong. There's 160 enrolled students. They're trying to improve the math and reading proficiency because we're in the bottom 50% ranking here in New York State. But they're really focusing on that. There's robotics, they're building bridges. It's fantastic. They hired their own teachers, security, coordinated with Dell, so everybody, actually all the students that are there has their own iPad. They're doing really well. It's going strong. The center, they have 2 health fairs that is sponsored by the Orange County Office of the Aging, and it's going to be at the town of New Windsor and Hillside Terrace. That's for February 8th and February 22nd. And then another, Town of Highlands Community Coalition. And they address the mental health and substance abuse issues. And that's going to be at the intermediate school
Tuesday,
on Tuesday, yeah.
6:30, 6:15, whatever.
So Ann really does get everybody from Orange County, Office of the Aging, the Community Coalition, all of that. She gets them together and brings them to us so that we can participate. And I don't have anything to say about the building department. They don't have anything new for this month. So their next report will be for the next meeting. The EV chargers, again, lead by the environmental committee. Elise is reviewing that contract. The town already signed up. We're trying to get more EV chargers here, but not having the taxpayers pay for that, for the electricity. So I think it's a great idea that we can attract those kinds of green energy without putting the burden on the taxpayers. And lastly, I really think if the board has some explanation to do, they should do it publicly and not censure it, okay? Not say it's false and not explain. There are people here who really want to know what's going on. They're trying to be part of the community. And we need to actually encourage that and not discourage it.
That's correct. Brian?
Yeah, the police report. Tanya always does the police report. Tanya had an accident, fell down a flight of stairs, was out for a while. And we're going to combine the information so you'll have it. I went over there and she was out for a little over a week after falling down the stairs. But I do have the Village of Highland Falls DPW. We went through, picked up bag leaves and brush. The leaf vacuum was dry enough to use it a few days. Assisted with the Christmas decorations in Memorial Park and Main Street. Worked on several water leaks with the water department personnel. Cleaned the catch basins because of the leaves blowing all around. We used the jet vac. Cleaned Main Street and other village streets, and we cleaned the senior center.
Thanks.
A few years back, I was sent to Cornell University to do union negotiations. I was doing New York State teachers. I was on the administrative side. I'm also going to use the town, just so people can understand. Whether we want to have a lawsuit or not, or a grievance, you must address the issue. Now, if you look at the town, with cell towers, that's been going on for years and years and years. You have a grievance, you think you settled it, that goes to the next court, then the next division, then the next division, and up to the Supreme Court. Yes, we have spent money, but let me enlighten you. There are no lawyers sitting here tonight on this board, none. We have a labor lawyer and this lawyer. Yes, it costs money. And every time a grievance comes in, it goes through the steps. It's not an issue of, oh, look at all the money going out. You don't have control over it. Ask the town board how much money they spent defending, setting up a cell tower. That's it.
Listen, if enough people, whatever that means, enough people tell us, not just me, tell us, that you don't want a cell tower, that you don't want a cell antenna, then tell us. If that's the consensus of the village, believe me, I have a million other things to do. Like a lot I have to do. I won't put any more time towards this. And yes, we won't have attorney bills, that's correct. So if that's what if that's what a majority of the folks want in the village of Highland Falls, tell us, tell me, or tell one of these folks here. And we'll give up. We'll give up. If you're satisfied with your phone, wow.
Joe, hang
I
on,
wanna
I have
meet
to
it.
clarify something.
Go ahead,
Okay,
go ahead.
so when I said to you that in the past 6 months, the village, the attorney fees was over $100,000, 112, that's not from the cell towers. That's from the labor attorney. 2/3 of that is from employee issues. Okay?
You're right.
And we only have 25 active employees, full-time, 25. And in 6 months, that's the kind of employee issues that we have to defend ourselves against. Is that not a symptom of something wrong with the way we're managing people? Okay, I mean, are we just hiring people who are not good people, or is it us? That's what I would ask you. So the board, not you in particular, but the board. So that's it, just a clarification.
No, thank you. Gary, thank you. Gary?
I'm good this week.
Jim?
Few things. You know, we threw out a few comments tonight, and I don't think there's anything wrong with folks coming to meetings. I in fact love when folks come to meetings. I love when folks ask questions. I love when folks make comments. You're voters, you belong, you're in this town, you belong at the meetings, you belong asking questions, you belong part of the process. Nope, I don't think anybody up here will argue that. But boy, I tell you, when you come up and you just say, well, I heard, so I'm just gonna say it, or, you know, I'm pretty sure that's how it's going, and then speak Bible. That's where I have an issue. You have somebody comes up here who was on this board before. I would suggest when you're looking up the information about lawsuits, look under the information of how many lawsuits were on the books when that was going on. I would suggest you look how much was being spent on legal fees when that person was in charge. You gotta be careful when you come up and just throw little grenades out to the public. You also should be careful about talking about elections and petitions, especially if you've been thrown off the ballot a few times. Now, I'm not saying that those times that you were removed from the ballot were false or you did something malicious, but nonetheless, the process worked because the things were invalid and you couldn't participate. So, again, I just have, that's where my issue is. We're screaming at our hired professionals, we're just making blanket comments, and it's from folks who are running this march, and that's fine. Anybody can run. I implore anybody to run. But come on, don't come up here and say, well, you know, I wonder if we're gonna be safe. I mean, that's a pretty, hold on. That's a pretty bold, like, whitewash. And I don't get it. It is most certainly bold.
It is not bold.
To sit up here and pretend like none of us care about what we're doing up here, I mean, come on. Those blanket comments are ridiculous. Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Melanie, all in favor, aye?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much for coming. I'm not gonna do it. I can't do that. I know it's hard.